Hi, and welcome to another Wanderword update for the Legend of Ragnar Johnson. In the following scene, you get to take control over Ragnar Johnson while he is taking care of little Elsie Schroeder. The story is told in third-person perspective, which is different from when you play as the reporter, which is second-person perspective. So let's have a peek and see what you think.
The wind blew strongly outside the metal walls of the TP, but the sound was soothing, like a lullaby, inside the comfortably arranged circular structure. In the center of the space stood a small wooden stove with a pipe leading out the roof. A barely lit oil lamp hung from the pipe and created a soft glow in the small, but homely space. Resting against one of the walls lay a wooden chest that looked ancient from years of use. A few pots and pans hung on strings above the chest, and a cot with a fur blanket rested against the opposite wall. In the center of the room, next to the stove, was a pile of furs and blankets with a small pair of feet sticking out from one end. The feet shifted and rubbed together as the door to the outside opened. A middle-aged man with a beard who cradled a few logs of wood quickly entered and shut the door behind him. The man placed the wood next to the stove and noted that the stove needed more firewood. He took off his coat, looked at the pile of blankets and furs and noticed the small feet protruding out.
Put more firewood in the stove.
The man bent down and filled the stove with some of the wood he'd just brought in. The embers crackled as he placed a few logs into the stove. He looked at the pile of furs and again noticed the small feet sticking out from the blanket. He stared at the chest in the corner, the pots and pans hanging overhead and the dimly lit oil lamp.
Tuck the feet into the blankets.
He bent down and gently tucked the feet back under the bundle of warmth. He lifted one end of the furs to reveal a small girl. She sweat profusely and shivered uncontrollably. He placed the furs back over top of her and breathed out heavily.
Turn up the oil lamp.
He walked over to the oil lamp and turned it up. The light shone brightly in the small space and it made him squint. He turned the lamp light back down and looked around his home.
Head over to the ancient trunk or chest.
With a heavy sigh, the man moved toward the wooden trunk, opened the lid and quietly rummaged through the trunk's contents. Amongst his belongings, the man noticed a book, a chessboard, a stack of letters and a bottle of whiskey.
Take out the stack of letters.
He grabbed the stack of letters and flipped through it. A picture of a young girl fell out of the middle of the stack. He picked up the picture and stared at it. "Oh, Alexandria," he said, as he caressed the photo with his index finger. He gently placed the photo back into the stack of letters and put the letters back into the chest. The man walked toward the cot and laid down on his backside. He glanced over at the pile of furs containing the little girl once more, then looked up at the ceiling. He closed his eyes and listened intently to the wind outside of his shelter. The gentle whistle soothed his mind. He was about to fall asleep until he heard a moan and opened his eyes wide. It was the first sign of life from the little girl in 3 days.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed the update. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and please do come back for another update in the near future. Bye for now.